Guys, this is Tyler. Some of you may know me from last year. I started my channel and I would do weekly NFL picks, and I was a big Packer fan, obviously, but I only made it about 4 weeks and then I kind of lost interest in it and stopped doing it. But this year I've decided that I miss it. I miss, talking back and forth with a few people on here, so I'm going to give it another try. And I'm going to focus a lot more on the Packer side of things because that is, my passion. I've grown up being a big Packer fan my whole life, and I want to focus more on that by doing things such as I'm still going to do the weekly picks with everybody, but then I want to make more videos focusing into previews and reviews of Packer games every week. And, just stuff like that, and Packer news that comes up, or injuries, or just thoughts on what's going on with the Packers, who I know a lot of people love, and I don't know how it's going to work, but I just wanted to say I'm back for those of you who watched my videos and enjoyed them, and for new subscribers, hopefully, welcome to my channel. And this video is just a short video. I'm going to start because preseason is starting this Sunday. The Packers start in Canton, the Hall of Fame game against the Colts. Preseason really isn't a lot for, a lot of people, but for me, it's a chance to see a lot of young guys fighting for jobs and see what can happen. So I'm going to preview the 53-man roster. It's my prediction on what it's going to end up being. I'm going to split it into 2 videos so they're quicker. Today I'm going to start with the offense, and then tomorrow it'll be the defense. And so here we go. On the offense, I'm going to start right away with quarterback, which pretty easy one to predict, I think. Obviously, you're going to keep 2 Aaron Rodgers, and Brett Hundley is going to be his backup, his second-year guy out of UCLA. The 2 other quarterbacks in camp right now are Joe Callahan and Marquise Williams. One of the 2 is going to make it to the practice squad, I believe, and that one's tough. If I had to pick right now, I'd say Callahan had the upper hand, but so the 2 quarterbacks, Rodgers and Hundley, are going to be on the 53. Next, we're going to go to running back. Eddie Lacy, obviously, James Starks, the 2 main guys. Lacy's really struggled with his weight. Whether or not he got it back under control is yet to be seen, but until then, I'm going to trust that it happened, and those are going to be the 2 main guys throughout the year. The third guy, I believe, if I had to pick, it's going to be John Crockett. It's his second year out of North Dakota State, and I just like him. I don't think there's any other running backs in the camp right now that could compete with him for the 3rd running back spot. So unless that happens, I'm going to predict and say that he's the 3rd guy. And then the 4th running back, which is the fullback, I'm just grouping them together, is going to be Aaron Ripkowski. No John Kuhn this year for the first time in a long time. So it goes to Rip. He's going to get the job, and he's very similar to John Kuhn, so hopefully he can have that same type of career that John had. Next up, I'm going to go with wide receiver, which is probably the most tricky position on the offense to predict. A lot of people say 5 or 6 receivers are going to be kept by the Packers, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say they keep 7. I just think there's so many talented receivers that it's hard to cut any of them. The way that I've heard that they're performing in training camp so far, and there's so many talented receivers that I think they're going to go with 7. The 7 being Jordy Nelson, obviously coming off the injury, Randall Cobb, Jeff Janis, who seems to be a fan favorite here in Wisconsin, Davante Adams. I know a lot of people are down on him, but he played last year through some injuries and had some struggles, and it's a sophomore slump, so got to give him another year. That's 4. Trevor Davis, the rookie, who was drafted out of Cal, I believe. He's a kick returner, punt returner type guy, speedy little guy, so he's going to be kept. Ty Montgomery, if his flipping ankle ever heals up, he'll be there. I think he has potential to push for the 3rd receiver spot. And then the 7th guy is Jared Abbrederis, a local Wisconsin guy that a lot of fans here love. He's on the edge for me right now, but I feel like he has had a good enough camp. He's just too talented for the Packers to get rid of, and I think they're going to go with those 7, and yeah, that just can't get rid of any of them. Next up, I'm going to go to the offensive line. I have the Packers keeping 9 offensive linemen. You got your 5 starters. You got Linsley at center. Lang and Sitton are the guards. And Bakhtiari and Bulaga are the tackles. That's pretty set in stone, I believe, with the 5 of them. Then you have J.C. Tretter as your main backup, who plays center and a little bit of guard. And then, sorry, I got my list here. Jason Spriggs, he's a tackle the Packers drafted in the 2nd round out of Indiana. He got to hang on to him. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Lane Taylor is who I also believe they're going to keep. Lane's been around for a while now, and he's a steady backup. And then Kyle Murphy, who they also drafted out of Stanford, I believe. I think he's got enough to make the roster and just be solid backups to a really good offensive line when they're healthy. So yeah, that was all 9 of them. Let me just take a look at my list here. That was all 9 of them. Don Barclay is one of the guys I have being released. They signed him to a 1-year contract, but he really struggled last year, and by the looks of it, in training camp, he hasn't done any better. And I think he's going to get the axe. Josh Walker and Matt Rotherham are another 2 guys to keep an eye out for that could push for a 53-man roster spot, but I could see both of them being practice squad, if not getting claimed by another team. And then last but not least on the offense, we have the tight end group. Have the Packers keeping 3 of them. Jared Cook, obviously, who got brought in from St. Louis this last year. Really talented tight end who's just never had the team around him to shine enough. The best quarterback he ever played with was Matt Hasselbeck, and when he was with him, he put up some of his best numbers. So really excited to see what he can do with someone like Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. Next up, Richard Rodgers, the Hail Mary hero. Everybody knows, obviously, who Rodgers is by now, I'm sure. He lost 15 pounds this last year. He's trying to work on, keeping his starting job from Cook. It's going to be interesting to see who wins it. I have Cook having the upper hand right now just because I think he's going to perform really well, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Rodgers still hang on to that starting spot. Then the 3rd string tight end, I'm going to have him keeping 3, comes down to Justin Perillo, who's been there for a few years. He's a big boy. Kennard Backman, it's his 2nd year from UAB. And Mitchell Henry, who is a very good blocker and special teams player. So it's going to come down to those 3. I have Perillo hanging on to the 3rd spot just because I like the way that he plays. He's a bigger physical tight end. And Backman just hasn't showed me enough yet. And Mitchell Henry, I think he's got a future somewhere. I just don't think it's with Green Bay. But yeah, those are the 3 I have the Packers keeping. Cook, Rodgers, and Perillo for tight ends. I believe, what was the total there? 25 on offense, so that means that they're going to hang on to 28 on defense, if my math is correct. It is, I think. And like I said, I'll have that video for you guys tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'm also looking for a new channel name. If anybody can come up with anything creative that watches this, something type of Packer related or NFL related, I'd like to hear your ideas. I've always liked getting comments from people. I try to reply as much as I can, So yeah, if you like it, comment, subscribe, share it around with people. I'd really appreciate it. And that's about it. Like I said, I'm Tyler, and I look forward to talking with a bunch of you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed my video. I will see you tomorrow.